went all along in those days. We shall have the two. Sheikh will be reading the Arabic part of the Quran. The Sheikh will be translating, and I and you shall be there to listen and enjoy the story, inshallah. Maybe we should have an opening recitation of the Quran as usual, a precise one, because we shall be starting. I cannot skip our Sheikh. We shall give him this moment to lead us today in just a few ayahs of the Quran, 3 or 4, in the opening of this session, inshallah. Thank you very much. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وأنا اخترتك فاستمع لما يوحى إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري إن الساعة آتية أكاد أخفيها لتجزى كل نفس بما تسعى فلا يصدنك عنها من لا يؤمن بها واتبع هواه فتردى وما تلك بيمينك يا موسى.
Thank you very much, brother, for that wonderful recitation of the Quran, Surah Al-Taha. I think, Sheikh, you can say words, 1 or 2, to the gathering as we start, inshallah. We will begin from Sheikh Abdul Bari, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think I don't have anything to say, but tibtum wa taba mamshakum wa tabawwa'tum min al-jannati manzila. Assalamu alaikum.
I thank you very much. You've heard the words, and Sheikh Paul Abdul Rahman will first translate what Sheikh has said, then he will add on his words, inshallah.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على خير الأولين والآخرين محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحابته والتابعين على هديه إلى يوم سنقوم أمام رب العزة والجلال. أما بعد فعباد الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sheikh has prayed for you that it is good that you hear, and he has prayed Allah to grant you all the best. It will enable you to enter the Jannah. Allahumma ameen. Personally, I thank you for coming to this session. My name is Paul Abdul Rahman, GS Education 3. I hope Allah makes us easy for all of us to go through this session.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, our teachers of today. You've heard them, but okay, now we can start.
But before it starts, I want to say something briefly. You see, Surah Yuusuf is quite a long, so you know it, it is very long. And I want to believe that every one of you here has ever heard about Yuusuf alayhi salam. So we shall make it in chunks, in bits. So we'll not be reciting one verse as I translate, like shaken cut or something like that. Not like that. So it'll be reading a big chunk, and then I'll make a recap in that part. Are we together? Yeah. Do you have a problem with that?
No, it is not.
Okay. So Bismillah. I will tell you where to stop. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين وكذلك يجتبيك ربك ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث ويتم نعمته عليك وعلى آل يعقوب كما أتمها على أبويك من قبل إبراهيم وإسحاق إن ربك عليم حكيم. بسم الله. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human beings, and it is us who are given the responsibility of taking on the earth as a whole, regardless of the presence of other creatures. So, there has always been a need for Allah to send us prophets, because you remember we all need to enter Jannah, and the other people will go to hell. But Allah decided to be sending prophets who will guide us until we reach Jannah. And in the Holy Quran, He makes mention of 25 prophets whom He sent to the mankind. 18 of them are listed on a single page in Surah An'am, as you know it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم. That is a single prophet. There is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then he goes on and says, وَهَبَنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ كُلًّا هَدَيْنَا وَنُوحًا هَدَيْنَا مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِهِ داود وسليمان وأيوب ويوسف وموسى وهارون وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وزكريا ويحيى وعيسى وإلياس كل من الصالحين وإسماعيل واليسع ويونس ولوطا وكلا فضلنا على العالمين. So those are 18 prophets, and a poet combined them in a bait in 2 stanzas. He said, وفي تلك حجتنا منهم 8 من بعد 10 ويبقى 7 وهم إدريس هود شعيب صالح وكذا ذو الكفل آدم بالمختار قد ختم. So those are the 25 prophets that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the mankind. But among the 25, we have 5 prominent ones, the most determined ones. There are 5. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions them in Surah Ahzab. He says, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَمِنْكَ وَمِنْ نُوحٍ وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. Those are the 5 most prominent prophets. However, among those 5, they are mentioned in a stanza. They say, أُولُو الْعَزْمِ نُوحٌ وَالْخَلِيلُ الْمُمَجَّدُ Musa wa Isa wal Habib Muhammad. Those are the 5 prominent prophets. So among the prophets, those prominent ones, there is Ibrahim alayhi salam. That man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him as a nation because of what he did. You remember, he was thrown into fire. Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was going to sacrifice Ismail alayhi salam. And then he came as a single person to fight the king by then, Namrud, who was very rude and harsh, a single person. So a single person woke up one day in the morning and then went and cut down the idols of those people. So Allah described him as a nation because he was very, very determined, Ibrahim alayhi salam. And as you all know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always reward you according to the level of your iman, the level of your tawheed. So since Ibrahim alayhi salam exhibited by then the highest level of iman, the highest level of piety, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him a very big favor that he has not given any other prophet apart from Ibrahim alayhi salam. What was that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent almost all the prophets from the lineage of Ibrahim. Secondly, all the books revealed to the prophets were revealed to the lineage of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Are we together? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, وَجَعَلْنَا فِي ذُرِّيَّتِهِ النُّبُوَّةَ وَالْكِتَابِ. And we have decided to give the lineage of Ibrahim to have so many prophets. The Prophet ﷺ said, كَانَتْ بَنُو إِسْرَائِيل تَسُوسُهُمُ الْأَنْبِيَاء. The sons of Israel, they had so many prophets, but actually all those prophets came from Ibrahim alayhi salam. Because remember, Ibrahim had two sons. Basically two sons, but they said there were other children, but we talk of two sons, Ishaq and Ismail. So Ishaq was, his lineage was most determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in that all other prophets came from Ishaq. And then Ismail alayhi salam, it was only Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam who came from that lineage. So when we come to the lineage of Ibrahim, we have Ishaq, then Ishaq, we go to Yaqub alayhi salam, and it is from Yaqub alayhi salam that we go to Yusuf, the man behind today's story. As you all know, أعطاه الله من الجمال شطرة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him half of the beauty of mankind. He had it a single person. Actually, as we shall see in the near future, the man had even to arouse interest of so many ladies in the community because of the beauty. I mean, he was so handsome. You know that? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Yusuf, but before that, I want you to know that Yusuf alayhi salam is mentioned 27 times in the Holy Quran, 25 of them in a single surah, and that is Surah Yusuf. One time in Surah An'am, and then one time in Surah Ghafir. Those are the 27. So Yusuf alayhi salam, his story is described by Allah as being the best of the stories. Because why? It is in a single part. If you look at all other stories in the Quran, you'll find them in so many parts of the Quran. But Yusuf's story is concisely contained in a single chapter of the Quran, and that is Yusuf. If you look at Surah Kahf, it is not only the story of Ashabul Kahf, but there are so many other stories in that chapter. If you look at Surah Hud, it is not only the story of Hud in that chapter, but there are so many other stories there. If you look at Surah Maryam, it is not only the story of Maryam, but there are so many other stories in there. But Surah Yusuf has only one person majorly, and it is the story of that one person contained in that. If I'm asking you, if you're watching a movie, what do you prefer? Do you want a movie to be chunked so many times, or you want it to be in a single seed? What do you prefer? So Yusuf's story is on a single seed, and it is regarded as the best of the stories because it gives the real issues that take place on earth, and which are experienced by human beings. So Yusuf one day in the morning woke up and then told the dad that you know what? When I slept, I saw أحد عشر كوكبا, 11 stars, والشمس, and I saw the sun, والقمر, and I saw the moon prostrating for me. So he told the father, and he expected the dad to have the answer for that dream, because the dad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gave him some knowledge, and he was in better position of translating, of deciphering that dream. So when the dad heard about the story, he had to advise the son that you know what, you keep this as a silent, because if you happen to tell your siblings, if you happen to tell your brothers, something else will happen. Shaitan will come in between you, and then he will cause so many challenges. So keep it in you, don't give it out to your brothers. But before I will continue, I want to give you some issues. At one, in Islam, there are some rules that govern dreaming. Number one, if you dream, there are two things involved. Either what you have dreamt is good or it is bad. If it is good, you are free to talk about it. You can relate it to your friends. You can narrate to them that I saw this and this. But you must make sure that the one you're telling is a good person. But if it is a bad dream, the Prophet said that if it is a bad dream, that is from Shaitan. Now what you do, if you're sleeping and you heard that, of course you will wake up. It will push you to wake up. Now when you wake up, you blow on your left three times, and then you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim 3 times. And then if you're sleeping on your left, you turn to your right. That is what governs the dreaming. Secondly, you're not supposed to deceive in a dream that I saw this and yet you didn't see that thing in your dreaming. Because it so happens that somebody will say, I saw you driving, but you didn't see anything. So you're not supposed to deceive. Secondly, anyone else is not allowed to come anyhow that I will interpret for you the dream. If you have no idea of interpreting dreams, please don't. If someone comes and say, I saw when I was in heaven doing this and this, don't say that, for you, your things are very good. If you're not well versed, don't, because it is haram. Altogether. So, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam advised the son, please do not relate your story to brothers, because Shaitan will come in between you and it will cause so many challenges. But here we also have another point, that Yusuf, when he got that dream, he rushed very fast to the dad. It means that the dad was so welcoming. Now, to our case these days, our dads are more or less like soldiers. You cannot go to him. So we should always create conditions where our children can come to us instead of running away from us. So when you have a dream, the immediate person you have is your dad, because he cannot wish you bad. But if you tell me or you tell any other colleague of yours, he will say that, you're disturbing me, I was even sleeping, I thought it was something important. But the dad will take it so important. Are we together? So you always need, if you're going to be parents, you always need to create that gap, that you always call the children to come closer to you, not chasing away the children, because that one has resulted into so many issues. Now, street children also are all in the places. We have seen girls getting pregnant. It's because of the dads and the moms at home. They do not take care of this. They create conditions that are not conducive, and that shouldn't be the way a Muslim lives. Are we together? I want him to continue from where I've stopped.
لقد كان في يوسف وإخوته آيات للسائلين إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن عصبة إن أبانا لفي ضلال مبين اقتلوا يوسف أو اطرحوه أرضا يخل لكم وجه أبيكم وتكونوا من بعده قوما صالحين قال قائل منهم لا تقتلوا يوسف وألقوه في غيابة الجب يلتقطه بعض السيارة إن كنتم فاعلين قالوا يا أبانا ما لك لا تأمنا على يوسف وإنا له لناصحون أرسله معنا غدا يرتع ويلعب وإنا له لحافظون قال إني ليحزنني أن تذهبوا به وأخاف أن يأكله الذئب وأنتم عنه غافلون.
So the brothers, actually it is said that they were 11. They were 11 brothers, so including Yusuf, those are 12. So 2 are from one mom and then the others are from another mom. But all in all, they say that Yaqub had 4 or 3 wives. So the brothers, apart from Yusuf and Binyamin, the other 10 connived and say that, you know what, the way we observe our dad, it seems that he loves so much Yusuf than he does to us. And yet we are a family. We are a family. I mean, the love should extend even to us, not to one person. So we should do something to limit that love of the dad to Yusuf. So what did they say? They say that we kill Yusuf alayhi salam, or we make him exile. We take him into another land. We exile him from this place of Canaan. We take him to another place where the dad will not access him. And so when he will not be seeing the man, the love will turn out to us. He will only be seeing us. And of course we shall repent afterwards and we shall be good people to the dad. He will love us in the long run. That is what they planned. So this one also gives us another issue, that I don't want to be judgmental by saying that sometimes the parents show their love to only a particular group of their children. But I can also say that sometimes the children are not able to recognize the love of their parents. You say, for example, if you are the only son, at home and you're having your younger brothers, if your dad shows much care to your young ones, you will say that the dad is so much caring to the other ones. And yet you yourself, you were not in position to recognize how the dad gave you that love because you were still young altogether. So sometimes children fail to recognize the love that were given to them by their parents, and then they will only look at these young ones, our siblings, the young siblings, that no, the love is concentrated on to our young ones, not to us. So that is what happened. So the other brothers say that since we are not getting our dad's love, what we can do, I think let's kill Yusuf alayhi salam, so that the love can now turn to us. And that was a very bad plan. But one of them said that La taqtulu Yusuf, do not kill Yusuf, but what you do, let's throw him into a well down. So when some people are passing, they will collect him and then maybe they will take him into another place and the dad will no longer access the man, and then in the long run he will love us. He will not love again Yusuf because he will nowhere to be seen. So the love shall now turn to us, and that is what they did. Now I want to say that evil is not always the same. If someone does something wrong and the other one does something wrong, they are all not the same. So they shifted from doing what was worst to what was worse, from not killing the man but exiling him in the process of throwing him into a well, and then people will pick him and then take him into another land. And that is what they did. So it is said that as parents, you shouldn't be segregative. You should not show your love publicly, that you isolate that maybe I love this one so much than the other one, because that one will create an enmity amongst the children. 2, you don't know who will be beneficial to you in the future, because you can concentrate on one, but when the one you are neglecting will be the valuable people in the future, but you do not know. We have seen that so much, more so to the co-wives, the so-called stepmoms. They show much care to their own children and then they neglect the other children. But in the long run, the other ones they were neglected, they grow up and then they support the family altogether. So you do not know who will emerge the best, who will help the family in the future. So you shouldn't segregate. You should be equal in sharing the love to the children. I mean, you may be having that one that you love who is ever number one in class, but you should not show that one publicly to the others, because they will create an enmity and then evil. They will have an evil eye, and of course they will be jealous to that one. And that is what happened during then. But on that particular matter, it is not always for us to judge our parents for the mistakes they do, because we're also going to be parents at one time. So learning how not to judge parents is also a very good discipline, because you can judge your parent and then later on you do the same. So what do? We normally seek guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to be like them. That is if what they are doing is wrong. But if we can guide them, then the better than keeping the issue with us and then blaming our parents, because we have seen them. They blame the parents that my dad does not do this and this and that. So instead of blaming your dad, do not blame, but you pray for him or you guide him. If you cannot, then do not blame, because you're soon becoming a dad. And also, people will also criticize your way of treating the children. All together. I want him to continue.
قال إني ليحزنني أن تذهبوا به وأخاف أن يأكله الذئب وأنتم عنه غافلون قالوا لئن أكله الذئب ونحن عصبة إنا إذا لخاسرون فلما ذهبوا به وأجمعوا أن يجعلوه في غيابة الجب وأوحينا إليه لتنبئنهم بأمرهم هذا وهم لا يشعرون وجاءوا أباهم عشاء يبكون قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق وتركنا يوسف عند متاعنا فأكله الذئب وما أنت بمؤمن لنا ولو كنا صادقين وجاءوا على قميصه بدم كذب قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا فصبر جميل والله المستعان على ما تصفون.
So after they planned that let's kill Yusuf, they now resorted to how to approach the dad, because the man Yusuf was living closest to the dad, so you cannot take him away from the dad unless the dad has given you permission. So they plotted how to take Yusuf away from the dad. And here they came, they say, oh, your dad, why don't you entrust us with Yusuf? Let's go with him. I mean, this is a younger boy. He needs to know the life outside you. He will not be with you until all the time around. So let's go with the man, let him play and then enjoy the community. We shall take care of him. So they came with very good words. And that is how people who want to wrong you will always come. They always come with good words so that you buy their idea. But at the end, they will snatch away what you have, the papers. So they came with a good tongue to convince the dad to give them Yusuf alayhi salam. And at the end, the dad had nothing to say. But he said before that, he said that إِنِّي لَيَحْزُنُنِي أَن تَذْهَبُوا بِهِ وَأَخَافُ أَن يَأْكُلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ. What makes me sad is that you will go with the man and then you don't care about him, then the wolf will come and eat my son. So when they went with Yusuf, what happened there is that actually they used the same trick that dad told them, because he was afraid of the wolf eating the son. So when they came back, after they went with Yusuf, they threw him into a well, and then they undressed, of course they undressed the shirt, the kanzu, and then they slaughtered the goat and then smeared blood on that kanzu. Then they came back with the goat, with the kanzu. So they told the dad on coming back that we went with Yusuf, but the wolf has eaten him. Because that is what the dad told them, that I'm afraid the wolf will eat my son. So they used the same trick to convince the dad that what you said was true. The wolf has eaten the what? The son. But in life, those who do law, I don't know whether you're here, but in life, someone told me that there is no perfect crime. There will always be a single loophole, or there will be some loopholes that will be now the basis of detecting what the crime was. So the sons, the other 10 sons, were not aware that the dad will ask, how did the wolf undress Yusuf and then ate the flesh and then gave you back the counsel? they didn't think about that. Of course, it was Allah to do all this, but there is no perfect crime. So whenever you do something, know that it is Allah covering you. It is not you. If at all Allah does not give you to the public, then stay silent. Stay silent altogether. Otherwise, there is no perfect crime at all. It is not there. Altogether. So the sons went with Yusuf. They threw him into the well. But by that time, it said that Yusuf was 7 years old. They threw him into the well, and then they came back with the counsel. And then the dad had to caution. Of course, he was so sad about losing the son. But he said, "Fasabrun jamil." Patience is the what? Is all the best issue to do. But he said, "Sabrun jamil." You should when you say that I'm patient, what you do, you don't over complain. That I like what to eat, but I'm patient. Then you also tell another one, I like what to eat, but I'm patient. If you decide that let me be patient, keep quiet. Allah will reward you. Not again talking about the same thing elsewhere. We are sick. So what? Just keep quiet. Allah will reward you. So Yaqub alayhi salam said, "Fasabrun jamil." Patience is good, and he kept quiet because why? If you decide to attack the 10 sons, you lose all of them. So let us at least sacrifice the other one who was gone, but let us remain with this with the 10, because they are many, they are more than the one. So that is in reconciliation, one part will always lose. But what we need all is to come together as a family, leave alone all those challenges that we encounter in life. Sheikh Abdul, continue. But you be faster. You read it.
وجاءت سيارة فأرسلوا واردهم فأدلى دلوه قال يا بشرى هذا غلام وأسروه بضاعة والله عليم بما يعملون.
So as they predicted earlier that let us throw him into a well, then people who are passing, they will collect him and then take him into another land. So it so happened that some people were passing, and then they decided to send one of them or two, because the word warid in Arabic language, it can mean one person or so many people. Those words are there even in English. You can say sheep to mean one sheep, or sheep to mean so many sheep. What means so many sheep? So even in Arabic we have such words. You can say, what is the singular of nisa? Nisa, imra'atu. Imra'atu. Is it imra'atu? Okay, what is the singular of ma'u? Or miyahu? Okay, in Arabic we have what we call ismul jamo. It is a word that means a plural, but it has no singular, like the word fulu. You cannot get a singular from it. So it is ismul jamo. So waridu, it is ismul jamo, but you can use it to a single person. So for arsalu waridahum, they sent someone, or they sent a group to fetch water for them, because we are moving a long journey from somewhere to Egypt altogether. So these people, when they went to fetch water, they threw, of course, a pail or a bucket, a bucket down. But the boy in there, the boy hung himself onto the bucket. Now that one shows that he was still young, because some books say he was 14 by then. It cannot be. So he was 7. For someone of 7, he can hang very well on a bucket, and then he can be fetched outside. So that is what happened. So when he was there, now someone will ask, what was he eating there in the well? I don't know. I don't know. But what you have to know is that Allah was there, isn't it? Because the Arabs actually have a saying which says that وَإِذَا الْعِنَايَةُ لَاحَذَتْكَ عُيُونُهَا لَا تَخْشَ مِنْ بَأْسٍ فَأَنْتَ تُصَانُ وَبِكُلِّ أَرْضٍ قَدْ نَزَلْتَ كِفَارَهَا نَمْ فَالْمَخَاوِفُ كُلُّهَا أَبَانُ. If you are aware that someone is taking care of me, and you are very you are very much assured of that someone that he cannot create harm unto you. La takhsha min ba'sin, never fear anything. Fa'anta tusawam, because you are protected. Wa bikulli ardin kad nazalta kifaya. Whenever you go, even if they are elephants, even if they are lions, you just sleep. Because someone is there who will protect you altogether. So Yusuf was not afraid because Allah was there. Allah was there. So they fetched him out. Instead of seeing water, they saw a boy. He said, Ya Bushira hadha ghulam. Ya Bushira hadha ghulam. في النحو نسمى هذا يسمى تعجب سماعي. Ya Bushira. They exclaimed upon seeing a very beautiful. He was handsome, but to me was beautiful because he was even more than the ladies that time. They exclaimed upon seeing a very handsome boy. Ya Bushra hadha ghulam. So what they did, asarruhu bida'atan. They hid that boy bida'atan to be a merchandise. They took him as a slave. Now they hid the boy from who? They hid the boy from the leader because they didn't want to see the leader to know that they are hiding a boy. He would caution them, from where have you stolen a kid? So they hid the boy from the leader of the caravan, of the convoy, I mean. 2, they hid the boy from the community members to see that there is a boy moving with the convoy. So what was the reason of hiding? بضاعة. هذا في النحو كيف يسمى هذا في النحو؟ مفعول لأجله. We hid the boy so as to sell him outside. So when they reached Egypt, of course they sold the boy. بضاعة, they sold the boy the other side, and then they gave them some little coins. And what was the reason for them accepting the little coins? Is because this one is not our son, we don't know him, we are just getting some profit out of the boy. So they had no interest from the boy. You just give us whether 10,000, you take the boy, we have no issue. Are we together? They gave them some little money in the boy, and then the boy went to the governor's place, or the palace of the governor or the king in that place of Egypt. So continue. But you bring it faster.
وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض ولنعلمه من تأويل الأحاديث والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين.
So it so happened that when they took the boy in the market, luckily enough, people were not buying it because this is a boy. Is he having any issue that is going to help us? He doesn't have energy. He's a little boy. I wish if he was someone healthy enough, maybe like in Paulo, that one maybe you can give 2 million, but this one is a kid. So not until the king was passing, then he noticed there is a boy. Of course, the kings, they have so many people who are serving them all together. So taking this boy is not something big. The king bought the boy, and then he gave them some little money. And then he took the boy in the home, in the palace. So Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ, and that is how we came to establish Yusuf in the new land. You see, the journey of you succeeding may start with a mistake, someone doing a mistake, and then Allah signals that one as your journey that will establish you into a very energetic person who will be having value in the community or elsewhere in the country. So that was Yusuf alayhi salam. Allah has now made him move from Canaan, from another land, and he has made him now come into a new land, Egypt. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, when he came to the youth stage, آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا, we gave him wisdom and knowledge. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and that's how we reward the people who do good. Continue.
وراودته التي هو في بيتها عن نفسه وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك قال معاذ الله إنه ربي أحسن مثواي إنه لا يفلح الظالمون ولقد همت به وهم بها لولا أن رأى برهان ربه كذلك لنصرف عنه السوء والفحشاء إنه من عبادنا المخلصين واستبق الباب وقدت قميصه من دبر وألف يا سيدها لدى الباب قالت ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن أو عذاب أليم.
Now this is what is known about Yusuf alayhi salam. Actually, when you say Yusuf alayhi salam, what will come into the minds of people is that a lady admired Yusuf, isn't it? So that is what is known, and it is where we are. So Yusuf, when he came to that youth stage, you know the youth, how the youth look, eh? Look at these people. You know me, I'm a little older, but you look at this one, mashallah, looking nice. Eh? So let me tell you something before I continue. If you fail to look nice in your youth stage, then give up. Just give up. Because how will you put right the cracks in your old age? The cracks, everything is now, the hair is only one hair and it is in the waist. How will you put right that one? So when Yusuf alayhi salam came to the youth stage, let me say to the puberty stage, he was looking so nice and so attractive. Actually, to be precise, he was so fascinating, that man. So the mom who raised up Yusuf was seeing, I think something should happen really. Something should happen really. So he looked for ways of seducing Yusuf alayhi salam. Altogether, I want to be so fast because of time. You know all this. The story it is known. Others you watched even movies about the same person. So what did the lady? What did she do? She called Yusuf, but actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ. She called Yusuf. Yusuf, I think, I don't, can you try that voice when you're calling someone? Yusuf. So when Yusuf came, غَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ, the lady closed the doors. You see, Allah says غَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ, she closed the doors. It means that it was not in only a single enclosure like this mosque, but she called him and then closed so many. I think Yusuf passed through so many doors, and then she closed every door she was closing. Yusuf entered another door, then she closes that door. He enters another door, she closes that door, until Yusuf appeared in a room where the lady wanted him to be. And then in there, the lady made all the necessary issues to attract Yusuf's attention towards doing what? Doing that something altogether. So he laid very well, and then she said, "Hey talaka, hey talaka, hey talaka, hey talaka." She said, "Hey talaka." Now to be brief, it's like you say someone okay. Let me say that. Are you saying? Oh. It is actually in some books of Nahaw they say it is ismu fi'il bimana ta'al, come and do something. Are we together? So the lady, she must have, how do you call that one? Cutting spear, removing all those bigger tires, and then remaining something so seductive that could attract Yusuf's attention. So Yusuf, when Yusuf appeared, looked up, "Hey, is this one my mom?" He said, "I'm not in the map this time round. Something should happen. You should give her something." Altogether. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, "Ma'adallah, innahu rabbi ahsana mathwaya." You see, when you don't want to do evil, there are two things that can only make you not to do that evil. One is Allah, and the other one is fear or shyness to the community, maybe to your parents or to your friends or to your teachers. So Yusuf said, with respect to this man who bought him in the market, he said, Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwaya. This Lord has always been treating me, so I cannot do that something to his wife. And then he said, with respect to Allah, he said, Ma'adh Allah, I seek protection from Allah from doing that thing. So he used both ways. He sought protection from Allah, and then he gave a reason for not doing that thing, because the husband to that wife was doing something very good to Yusuf. So he couldn't do something again evil to annoy the man in his absence, because he was not in the room by that time. So Yusuf alayhi salam refused to engage in that act, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. So they decided to run. As Yusuf decided to run, approaching the door, man opening up the door, and then moving away. I cannot do this one. As the lady is following. What are you not seeing? Are you young? Are you young? Come back. So in the long run, the shirt or the kanzu got torn. The lady, the shirt of Yusuf got torn. And then opening the last door, it so happened that the husband had also came back, and then they met at the doorway. Now a lady, you see those ladies are not good sometimes, you see. They can change in 1 minute. In 1 minute. The lady in 1 minute back, the lady was seducing Yusuf to do something. But in 1 minute after seeing the husband, the lady turned totally as if it was Yusuf trying to seduce the wife. How to get? So she said, how can you reward someone who wanted to do evil on your wife? How can you reward that person? You see? Illa an yusjana, maybe you can take him to prison, because she also gave an option that you take him to prison, because she feared that if she doesn't give an option, the husband will kill Yusuf. So she gave an option: take him to prison. I will meet him there. She did not say that one. Take him to prison to prevent the husband from killing Yusuf alayhi salam. And that is how Yusuf alayhi salam managed to escape the evil. You see those Arab ladies, when they are in their homes, they are covering. I mean, when they are in public, they are covering. You see, even the niqab is on the face. But when they are inside, they take it as something very easy, because this is my place. This is my room. So they do not put on those bigger garments, attires. They leave them maybe to the outside. They say that in some poem, they say that Hurun harairu ma hamamna biribatin karibai makata sayduhunna haram hunna allawati fil buyuti jawahirun wa idha kharajna ila at-tariqi khiyam. Actually, ladies, when they are in their homes, they are khiyam. They cover, they are jawahir. They open up their bodies, and then you see some body glittering and so seductive. But when they move outside, khiyam, they cover themselves. But it so happened that this lady, the wife to the king, made that mistake of opening up to the what? To Yusuf alayhi salam. A boy he raised. Now that one caused interests of the ladies outside the community. And then they decided to come up with so many words about that lady. How can you seduce a boy that you raised yourself? I mean, if it was someone else, it would be fine, maybe. But a boy you raised by yourself, that one is something so bad. So you continue.
قال هي راودتني عن نفسي وشهد شاهد من أهلها إن كان قميصه قد من قبل فصدقت وهو من الكاذبين وإن كان قميصه قد من دبر فكذبت وهو من الصادقين فلما رأى قميصه قد من دبر قال إنه من كيدكن إن كيدكن عظيم. يوسف أعرض عن هذا واستغفري لذنبك إنك كنت من الخاطئين. وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين. فلما سمعت بمكرهن أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكأ وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينا وقالت اخرج عليهن. فلما رأينه أكبرنه وقطعن أيديهن وقلن حاش لله ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم.
So now we are now in a court. The husband has met Yusuf, and then the wife is half naked. So something should be done to prove that Yusuf is not guilty. You see, sometimes the law becomes guilty of making the innocent guilty. I mean, some people are innocent, but the law can prove them to be guilty, and then they are imprisoned. So Yusuf, it is the lady who seduced Yusuf, but the lady turned out to say that it was Yusuf seducing the lady. So they sought for evidence to show that it wasn't Yusuf. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made, in some narrations, he made a young child who was in that room. Of course, when you're having a baby in the room, can he refuse you from doing what you want? What will he do? He does not even speak. So it is said that there was a boy in the room. So when the man came and then the man was accusing Yusuf, they asked for evidence. And then Yusuf looked for evidence and it was nowhere to be seen. But all along, they saw a boy. Then Yusuf made that boy, carried that boy and then prayed to Allah. And then the boy had to speak by Allah's grace. So the boy said, let's look at the kanzu, the shirt. If it has got torn in front, then it means Yusuf is in wrong. And then the lady is speaking the truth. Because normally if it was Yusuf seducing, something should be arousing him to open up very fast. So he's not able to control, then he will tear the kanzu altogether. But if at all we look at the kanzu being torn behind, then it means that someone was trying to pull Yusuf back. And that is how they established the evidence, and then it was proved that Yusuf was not wrong. It was actually the lady. But the king said that Yusuf, you call and then become silent, be at ease. And then that is how things settled. However, the ladies outside, they got interested in that story. They said, how can that be? So when the lady to the king said that, when she heard that people outside are talking evil against her, she decided to call those ladies, as you know. You know the story. She called the ladies in a room. Of course, not all the ladies. You cannot collect all the ladies of the town of Mbale city. A few of them. So she gathered a few of them in a room, a very big room, and then she gave them mutaka. Mutaka is something to sit on, like a seat. And then they gave everyone an apple. This is so common in European homes. I've not seen it in African homes, because in Africa, when you pay visit to your friend, the first meal she will give you or he will give you is posho or potatoes. But those guys, they give you watermelon. Are you seeing? Watermelon, apple, and something like that. So when the ladies came, they gave them something to start on. I want us to take an apple, and then they also gave them sekina. They gave them the knives. They gave each one a knife and then an apple, a knife and an apple, a knife and an apple. But the lady told Yusuf before that I will call you and then you also bring my food. So when the ladies were sitting, as you're seeing us sitting, like these are ladies and these are ladies facing this and this one facing this side, and the door is the other side. So Yusuf is in the other part. So the lady is sitting here. Actually, I'm not the lady, but because the ladies don't have beards. Okay.
Inshallah.
So,
Okay.
okay. Since ladies don't have beards, I will not be the lady, but someone is the lady. So, the wife was sitting in the front, and then she had told Yusuf before that I will call you, and then you'll bring my food. So one time came, this one started eating the apples. It was normal. After all, hey, what is refusing? This is an apple, let's eat. So the lady called Yusuf, come, bring my food. So Yusuf entered. You see, when they started looking at Yusuf, something was not good in the heart. The heart was pumping at high adrenaline. You see, in biology, we said that adrenaline can cause things to change. The rush of adrenaline can cause you to do what you don't want to do. You can even eat a meal of 1 kilogram of posho when you don't know. So they entered. When Yusuf entered, these people were not settled because they saw someone they have never seen. Because I said this is not handsome with Yusuf, this is beauty. They saw the beauty of the man, and then they say that this one is not a human. And then, can you imagine? I wonder. I wonder. Do you have? If you want to check whether your girlfriend is so beautiful, you make a gent sit. Make a gent sit and give them chapos maybe with a knife, and then tell you tell your wife to pass. You tell the wife to pass through. If you see anyone putting the chapati here, the lady is beautiful. But what I know, they will even request for more chapati. Bring the chapatis. Meaning something is not good. So when the lady saw Yusuf, they saw this one is not a human. This one must be an angel. Of course, no one saw an angel before. But according to the narration, it is said that the most beautiful creature ever is an angel, and the most worst creature ever is Satan. So if you tell someone you look like an angel, that is enough. Even you don't need to give them something. But if you say that you look like Satan, that is so different. Because
it is also enough.
It is also enough. But we have not seen Satan yet, but in the mind it is said that the picture of Satan is very bad, and everyone will not love to be equated to Satan altogether. So when Yusuf came, they started cutting their fingers, unknowingly, and that is the truth. Because at the end, Allah says, Ma kana hadithan yuftara. This is not a fictional story. You know fiction? Fiction is an imaginary story. I say, Gulu Gulu goes, wah! That's not there, Gulu Gulu. Nambi, and something. Those are fictions. Yeah? So fictions are always good, and they are eye-catching. Yeah? They are eye-catching. If you watch movies of Marvel, you know Marvel. Batman, Captain America. Those things are good and interesting because those are fictions. They are not there, but they are interesting to see. You see a man carrying an aeroplane. Sincerely speaking, even Indian movies sometimes, because those Indian movies. Because recently, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Let me say something. Recently, actually, I was passing somewhere, and this was a street, and they had put a very big screen. Of course, these are people who sell CDs, movies, and something. So, of course, if you're there, you're passing, and you see a big screen, you cannot fail to throw there one eye at least. So when I threw there my one eye, I saw that a train was coming very fast, but an Indian man was passing, and the train was going to knock a lady. So this man decided to slap the train, and then the train. But those are fictions. Those are fictions. So Allah says at the end of the story that ma kana hadithan yuftara. These are not fictions. These are things that happened. So the ladies, for real, they cut their hands and blood was coming instead of cutting the apple. Now, what was the cause? They cannot contain in their hearts to see this man passing and then something is not done. So they decided to cut their fingers unknowingly. Are we together? So when they all cut their fingers, and then the Yusuf alayhi salam went back, the wife told them, the wife to the king told them that was the thing you were blaming me for. I admire the boy. Now for you, I've seen him only once, but I live with the boy. He's moving with the other side, he's going the other side, doing these things and those things. So I decided to contain. I decided to do only one time, but you have not even endured to see the man for only 1 minute. But you sympathize with me who is living with the man in the room. He's doing everything. So he had to consent. Now all the ladies she had called, they said that Yusuf, why don't you do something at least? Because we have seen something should be done. Someone has done everything to seduce you, but you have not done anything. At least do something. So they always resorted to calling Yusuf to do evil. And behind that, or before that, they were all blaming the wife for doing something wrong to Yusuf alayhi salam.
Because also learning very many things here. You see the man asking so that the man can go back to the king and tell the king that
قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه وإلا تصرف عني كيدهن أصب إليهن وأكن من الجاهلين فاستجاب له ربه فصرف عنه كيدهن إنه هو السميع العليم ثم بدا لهم من بعد ما رأوا الآيات ليسجننه حتى حين.
So, to cut the story short, Yusuf alayhi salam, actually, he did not cause insecurity in the palace, but the ladies could not endure to see the man in the room, and then something was not done. So what they decided, the king and the cabinet, after sitting, they said that this man should go to prison. And then of course the lady was fueling, let the man go to prison. And then Yusuf said that As-sijnu ahabbu ilayya, I would rather go to the prison other than doing that altogether. Because when you do with one wife, and then the other one will also come. Even me, and you will not manage altogether. Did I say that one? Yes, even so. At the end of it all, Yusuf alayhi salam pleaded at least to be imprisoned, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him that. You see, sometimes what you pray for, you should be careful when you pray. Some things happen because of your prayers. Are we together? Yes. One time the Prophet was the Prophet paid a visit to a certain Sahaba who had fallen sick for quite a number of years. So when he reached the man was in a bad shape. So when the Prophet asked him, he said, "Hal kunta tad'u Allah bi shay'in min qabl?" Did you supplicate? Did you make any dua to Allah before this? The man said, "Yes." And what was the dua you made? He said that, "Allahumma ma kunta mu'aqibani bihi yawm al-qiyamah fa ajirni bihi fi dunya." What you were going to punish me with on the day of judgment, you bring it now. Bring it now. So the man severely fell sick for a number of years. So you should be careful. So the Prophet said, "Hal la qulta Allah rabbana atina fid dunya hasana fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar." That is the best. You say, "Allah grant me goodness in here, in the hereafter, and then you protect me from hellfire." That would be the best of them. Don't say, since someone is not giving money, don't say that. Now I'm going to die. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. But for us, if we pass, we pass. If we fail, that is okay. Allah will make you fail. So sometimes things happen because of your tongue, and you should mind your tongue. Also, issues relating to you. We're together. You don't say that. But for us, I think we shall produce lame children. Don't say that one. You will see that one. So So continue.
ودخل معه السجن فتيان قال أحدهما إني أراني أعصر خمرا وقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا تأكل الطير منه نبئنا بتأويله إنا نراك من المحسنين قال لا يأتيكما طعام ترزقانه إلا نبأتكما بتأويله قبل أن يأتيكما ذلكما مما علمني ربي إني تركت ملة قوم لا يؤمنون بالله وهم بالآخرة هم كافرون واتبعت ملة آبائي إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب ما كان لنا أن نشرك بالله من شيء ذلك من فضل الله علينا وعلى الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون.
So, you remember we said that they decided to imprison Yusuf alayhi salam. So, you see what you go through may not necessarily be punishments. See, not everyone who is in prison is guilty. Others, like I said earlier, sometimes the law is guilty of making the innocent guilty. They imprison people, but those people are actually not in the wrong. It was some other people else. But because maybe of the money or the dignity or the favor, they decided to imprison other people. So Yusuf alayhi salam was imprisoned, and that is for real. He was imprisoned. And then with him entered also two other youths, two other young men with Yusuf. So after a while, of course it was, they may not have entered, that he entered and then they also entered. But in that period, when Yusuf entered the prison, two other men came to the prison, and then of course there were so many other people in the prison, but basically the story is entailing those three people now. So in the prison, after some years, actually some books say after 5 years, those people were seeing Yusuf as a good man. We see him very polite, he prays, he does not speak using a loud voice. He's a moderate person. I think this man is a good one. So when they had a dream, one of them had a dream. He saw in the dream that he was making wine for the king. And then the other one, he dreamt and then he saw himself lifting bread on the head, and then the birds were eating on that bread. So they looked for someone to decipher, to interpret their dreams, but no one. But they had seen something in Yusuf alayhi salam. So they decided to approach Yusuf. Then they told Yusuf their issues. One of them said, Inni arani a'asiru khamra. I see myself making wine. وقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا. I see myself lifting bread and then birds are eating on the bread. So you help us to decipher, to interpret that dream. So Yusuf said, I'm going to interpret, but before that, you see, when someone asks you a question, most of these people who are doing for us we are doing other issues, but people who are doing Sharia, you are at an advantage. If someone asks you a question, before you rush to answer, first teach him something that you have seen so important in that time. For example, when someone asks you that, how many pillars of Islam? Before you answer, you tell him about the goodness of being a Muslim and then the goodness of calling others to Islam. Then you answer. So when these people asked Yusuf to interpret the dreams, Yusuf said, before they bring you the food that you'll eat, I will have interpreted your dreams. But however, you first listen to this story, this issue. Are the gods, the small gods that you worship, better or al-wahid al-qahar? In other words, he taught them Tawheed. So he must have seen that these people are not practicing the right religion. They are worshipping idols. So when he saw that one, and then he got a chance that they have come to him, he decided to use that chance to say something before. So when they came, he asked them, those gods that you're worshipping, are they the best or it is Allah? You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another verse, in another chapter, not Surah Yusuf, he said, ضرب الله مثلا رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون ورجلا سلما لرجل هل يستويان مثلا الحمد لله بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. How do you see? If we're having two slaves, one slave is serving two masters, but the masters are ever in wrangles. They are not in good terms. Each one is in conflict with the other. And then the other slave is serving only one master. Whom do you think will deliver to his best? Whom do you think? The one serving two masters or the one serving one master? So, and that is how Tawheed is. So if someone is worshipping idols, you see idols are different. If you want, they say that if you want wealth, there is a certain God you go to. If you want rain, there is a certain God you go to. If you want children, there is a certain God you go to. If you want maybe wisdom, there is a certain God you go to. So mutafarriquna, they are separate, not only in their bodies, that this one maybe is a mountain, the other one is a tree, the other one is maybe a stick, the other one is maybe a soil or something else. They are not only different in their embodiments, but they are also different in a way that the aims for which people worship them are also different. They are not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-wahid al-qahar. If you want wisdom, go to Allah. If you want success, go to Allah. If you want children, go to Allah. If you want something else, go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-wahid al-qahar, one. So if you worship only one Lord, one master, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are doing the best. Actually, if you're serving two others or you associate Allah with so many other gods, then you will not benefit because you will not serve to your best. So Yusuf alayhi salam decided to teach Tawheed to these people, and then the people had to understand that it is Tawheed, and then we need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, he interpreted their dreams at the end. He said the other one will go back to the palace because these were the people working in the palace. However, they had connived to poison the king. So they decided to imprison them because of that. So one of them was actually guilty, and then the other one was innocent. So the other one who saw that he was making wine, Yusuf told him that for you, you'll go back into the palace, and then you will be making wine for the king. And then the other one who saw bread, and then birds eating on the bread, he told him that for you, you'll be crucified. You'll be killed and then be put on the cross. And then birds will happen to eat on you in the long run. And then that one said that we were joking. Actually, it is not true. The issue is now finished. Even if you lie, that's why you're not allowed to say that I was lying, I was deceiving. I did not see that one. In a dream, it is not allowed. You report what you have seen. So you've said, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ. Now the issue has been decreed, and that is how it shall be, بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And that is how it became. So after a long run, but before they went out, Yusuf told the other one, he knew that he will go outside, بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. He told that person that, وَاذْكُرْنِي عِنْدَ رَبِّكِ. When you go outside the prison, you remember me. That there is a man in the prison, imprisoned, as you're with the king. You tell my story to the king. There is a man, he's not bad, we see him as a good person, but he was imprisoned maybe for nothing. Can you look into his issue and then you set him free? Uzkurni inda rabbik. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cautioned Yusuf in that I've been taking care of you since your early childhood. Since you came, you were in the well. Since those people took you, those convoy came with you in the what? In Egypt, I was the one taking care of you. Then how can you seek for help from another creature instead of seeking for help from me? It is me who made you in that situation. So Allah decided to give him another more years in the prison. So Allah says, فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. So if you go in some books of Nahw, they say فَاءُ هُنَا سَبَبِيَّةٌ. It was as a reason of him seeking for hope from another creature, not from Allah, that Allah gave him more years. Then Allah says, فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. He now stayed in the prison for more years. The word bidwa in Arabic language, it means numbers between 3 and 9. So Yusuf stayed in prison between 3 and 9 years, but precisely some books say that he stayed in prison for 7 years. However, that is 7 years after interpreting the dreams, but he had spent in the prison some years back, something like 4 or 5. So altogether, it is said that Yusuf spent in the prison almost 12 years in the prison, Yusuf alayhi salam. And that is maybe where we shall end, and if there is another time, it is where we shall pick from, inshallah, unless there is something else. But I want to terminate. I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh Abdul Rahman Paulo, for your presentation, thank you. And Sheikh Abdul By, he's not a Ugandan by the way. He's from Comoros. How do you call people from Comoros? Yeah? I think you see. Last time I asked how do we call people from Poland, Mbupolanians. But yeah, you like lying to me. Anyways, thank you very much for listening, and I think we shall be resuming next Sunday if the chairman Halaka accepts. From here, inshallah, we shall be resuming the story of Yusuf part 2. But I would like to also thank all of you, and we shall ask 2 questions for those who have been following. Question 1: who was the father of Yusuf? We shall reward you something, inshallah. Yes, Ajay. Yaqub, thank you. The question number 2: how many children were they? All in total? Raise up your hands. What? 25? 12. Thank you very much. Now, inshallah, the next time we shall have Sheikh Abdul Barji summarizing at the end of this story. We want him to come in at the end because he's done reading the Arabic portion. So at the end next time, inshallah, on Sunday, we will have to give a summary of the whole story, inshallah. As we complete, I would like to appreciate my classmates, the ones who are doing, mostly the ones in my year. You're doing a very great job. You're not letting me down, and mostly the girls. It is a very good thing. Allah, because you're also learning very many things here. You see the man asking so that the man can go back to the king and tell the king that I'm here to apply for the production warranty. You've seen the evidence, the young man giving evidence, very many things, inshallah. So we shall have now a presentation of the Quran from the ladies, because we had the opening one from the gentlemen. I wish Sheikh Abdul Rahman Paulo has told me to select Shifa. Simomani, naye musomesa abagambi siso akujeni. Naam, Shifa. Bismillah.